Politics editor for the Boston Globe, live with us from the Globe in Boston now. Shira, nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you watch Trump?
I just heard him right now on Fox.
Yeah, I watched the news conference, as it were. He's all over his competitors. He's relentless in his attack. And I wonder how long your reporting indicates that might be able to play.
Yeah, I do think we're starting to see the effects of Trump fatigue. I know people have been saying this has been coming around the corner now every week or so. We're going to see the end of Trump. But I do think we're seeing that because that's what the polls are showing. We're seeing Ben Carson, who in some ways is a very similar candidate type to Donald Trump, not in personality, but in other ways. We're seeing him take the lead in a lot of these polls. And I think it's because many people are sick of Donald Trump's bombastic personality. It's not so much his, what some people consider very offensive statements. I don't think that helped to extend his appeal at all, but it's not so much that, it's just his personality, and they want someone who has a bit more of a calm demeanor, and I think that's why you're seeing some of the shift from Trump to Carson in these polls.
Is it still your reporting that you believe eventually these outsiders, these non-political candidates are going to go by the wayside and the more traditional candidates are going to fill the gap there?
I don't think they're going to go by the wayside completely. If you look at how the primary process has played out in the last couple cycles, you're probably going to see one of them get one of these coveted 3 tickets out of the Iowa caucuses, if there are 3 to 5 tickets, if there are more tickets this year. Traditionally, the Iowa caucuses give 3 candidates a chance to continue on to the New Hampshire primary because they make those top 3 spots. I would be very surprised if one of these so-called outsider candidates, Donald Trump or Ben Carson, does not get one of those top 3 spots. That said, I don't think either of them is going to get the first place spot come caucus day or New Hampshire primary day.
And at what point does the other side, at what point does Hillary Clinton start to decide who to aim fire at? And is that part of the reason for the delay, I wonder?
Yeah, I think Hillary Clinton will decide who to aim fire at once she knows who the nominee is, because this could be potentially a long process. Look at the number of candidates who are running. You know, traditionally, like I said, 3 people move on from Iowa to New Hampshire. 3 people have the momentum and the credibility to do so. The field is so big this time, you're looking at maybe 5 people, which means they're only picking up a couple delegates in every one of these primaries and in the weeks that follow. That means you're looking at a long delegation fight for the nomination, potentially a few months.
People shouldn't forget Jeb Bush has a lot of money, a lot of backing, a really, really good ground game to hear it from those who are out there. And is it your sense that this Jeb can fix it reboot, as he'd like for us to call it, has a chance, not today or tomorrow, but in the near future?
It has a chance. Americans, especially voters, love a good comeback story. You can ask John McCain about that. You can ask John Kerry about that in the fight for his nomination back in 2004. That said, I think those candidates had something that Jeb Bush really doesn't. There was an underlying enthusiastic base for those 2 candidates somewhere in the early primary states. You just don't see that with Jeb. So I think his comeback is going to be even more difficult than the 2 people I just mentioned.
Shira Center from the Boston Globe. Shira, thanks again. Good to see you. And I see